Welcome back to La La Land on CRN Digital Talk. That's Kristin Towers Rowles, and I'm Brett Chapin. We're talking to the great Kevin Delin, actor and director. Go ahead and give us a call, guys, at 1-800-336-2225 if you have any questions for Kevin. And thanks again for joining us.
I'm sure my mother has the phone number. I'm surprised she hasn't called yet.
I know. Come on, Mom. Get it together. Well, at least she's watching the live stream at ustream.tv/channel/CRN Studio Live, right?
I have no doubt.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Hi, Mom. So, guys, we were talking in the commercial and we were getting into some kind of interesting stuff that we might as well continue on the show. We're talking about the differences between being a theater actor in LA versus being a theater actor in New York. The different levels of competition. Do you run into the same types of people? And Kristen, you were saying that you've worked as a theater actress in New York. What do you think are some of the differences and similarities?
Well, I actually found myself running into more people than I knew in New York and the theater scene than I do out in LA. I think out there sometimes. Well, I went to graduate school at Rutgers in New Jersey for acting, and so when I went out into the city, you started finding your professors, theater company, or the ones that you went to school, you took classes with, and you start, seeing the trickling down effect, and you start seeing those people at other auditions, and I always found that I started seeing the same people as opposed to out here. Yeah. I don't know why that is. Maybe because when you do film out here, certain people just turn up that are usually doing film, and sometimes they go, oh, I'll go do a theater audition.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it just kind of
theater
depends,
becomes a luxury.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about over the break.
True. And Kevin, and I should say that Kevin has a film, heatandhostility.com. Check out everything regarding that. But with on the subject of theater in Los Angeles and theater in New York, do you think that it's getting a little bit more comparable to New York, theater in Los Angeles? Do you think it's improving? And I don't know if it'll ever be at that level because New York has Broadway, but do you think that there's positive changes being made?
Well, I don't know if I agree with. I think it's already there. I mean, my acting coach was Kim Darby, who would talk to me about doing plays out in L.A. with Christopher Guest. I mean, yeah, they're known for television and film, but this is in the 70s, goes even older than the 80s. But I mean, it's been there. As long as you're going to get a bunch of people that's are interested in the craft and the ability to create characters, I don't see why there'd be any difference. I mean, if we were in Chicago, we might be talking about that, or Atlanta, but I mean. New York has Broadway, LA has Hollywood, but either way, you're going to get a clumping of actors just because those are the two sort of pinpoints in the country for where actors, can work.
Sure.
Can I say something on that, actually?
Sure.
When I think what's happening right now too, and I did this. I moved back to Los Angeles. I was going to school in New York, thought I was going to live in New York. But, when I got out of school, we thought, oh, wow, I have this education. I'm going to be offered the Broadway roles. But it's not that anymore. You go on Broadway, and the Broadway plays are being performed by people that are in film. And that's become something that these film actors go, I want to go on Broadway. And the audience will pay to see these film stars because they're quote unquote in the same room, quote unquote, in the room with them, and they'll pay the high money. So when I graduated, I was going to go out for I think it was Tom Hanks's Katie Holmes. She did that show, Arthur Miller, and I remember we were all set on going out and getting that part, and then realizing, oh, Katie Holmes has it. And so what I think is now what is attributing is that a lot of actors from New York who don't have film careers, obviously, are coming out to LA to do theater because it's just being predominantly filled with a lot of movie stars. Yeah.
I think it's getting bigger and bigger. And you've worked on both sides of the coast. What are your thoughts, Kristen?
What's frustrating, because I'm primarily a musical theater actress, is that the biggest theater in LA is not filled with Los Angeles actors. Everyone goes to the Pantages. Wicked comes and sits down for months and months here, and at one point, years here. And most of the people in those shows are New York actors being brought to Los Angeles. And so I think the bigger message is, please go and support local theater filled with LA local artists. If you're in LA and you want to see what real LA theater is, there is a lot of it. There's a lot of talent here. I mean, unbelievable talent. And we can't get in the Pantages shows. We can't unless we move to New York. It's very ironic. So, you know, you will see Los Angeles actors at the Taper, but you won't always see them at the bigger theaters. And so support the 99-seat theaters. Support LA artists alliances and websites that have something to do with this city and what we're doing here, because there is such a plethora of Los Angeles talent.
Yeah, they work so hard. They really do. And
we really do.
Yeah, we all do. Kevin Delin, heatandhostility.com. We're excited about that.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for being here. Kristen, you've got some stuff coming up.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm doing Little Women next weekend, and it is a wonderful fundraiser.
We'll be back and tell us all about that.
Wonderful. Thanks.
On La La Land with Brett and Kristin Towers Rowles on CRN Digital Talk.